Hey guys, welcome to this new entry in the video blog on the development of Blockhood. I have very exciting news for everybody. It's been a while since the last episode, so I just want to share with you some of this news. We have just signed a contract with Devolver, who's going to be the publisher for Blockhood, and we're very happy to be partnered with them to make the game reach a large audience, and that's really exciting. They're going to be helping us out, and we're going to be able to focus on finishing the game throughout the rest of the year, or the rest half of the year. The current build that we're going to be sharing on Thursday, March 10th of 2016, is going to be finally released as an early access, and it's the current build that I'm showing you right now. Has a bunch of different things that we've been working on and polishing based on the feedback on the beta. So let me get into those. So right now we have 12 challenges. As you can see, I don't want to spoil all of them for you, but like the challenges are really an exciting game of playing the game that really works as a puzzle. Right? You are requested a particular kind of resource. All the resources, if you play the game or you follow the game in any way, you realize that the resources are very generic. They're not like scores of positive or negative. Some of them you could consider them positive, and some of them maybe negative. But it's up to you as a player really to figure out what do you want. But the challenge actually, it's biased, right? It's telling you, okay, why don't we just think of this resource as something important, and this becomes a metric for you to succeed. So in this case, let's say you have 600 water. Other tutorials ask you for different kind of units. Other gets more difficult, and they will be asking you to do a particular set of units of resources while maintaining certain other resources very low. So that would have a particular kind of challenge to the player. You'll have to figure out what are the combinations and the patterns that you need to create, different loops between different productive units to actually achieve this. And this is maybe these 12 tutorials, these 12 challenges that we've developed for this build is just the beginning. We really have like lots of great ideas. We want to continue developing the catalog of blocks and the catalog of tutorials, and with that, new resources and so on. There's lots of exciting developments coming in the future. But at this point, it's really fun, I think, to really go through this content, see what is the potential of the game and how the game can actually grow. The tutorials as well that you can see here, they also have been reworked. We have 10 now. We used to have 8, but we reworked the tutorials based on the feedback. They're much more guided right now, and they're really kind of trying to take you from nothing, from knowing how to just build a block and delete a block, to all the way to what synergies and ecology really is. They get pretty challenging, I think. Some of the concepts, they're quite deep, so I think that it allows you to understand that you could play in a very kind of superficial layer and have fun with that, but then you can also like get much better at the game and start kind of fine-tuning what your buildings and your neighborhoods are doing, right? Obviously, for us, always the main mode has been Sandbox mode, which is a completely free mode for you to play. It's not like a campaign where you're kind of unlocking things as you go, but the game itself, it's going to become more challenging as you grow your neighborhoods, and that's going to become clear as I show you a bit more. Other things we've talked about before, achievements, things that these are going to also be continue expanding as we keep developing the game, but we do have them working right now, and a few options. Some of these things that were missing before, you'll be able to access those. So sorry for the noise. This neighborhood is pretty noisy. So let's jump into the Sandbox, right? So the Sandbox, you have like the possibility to create your block with different sizes. We've allowed for like up to like a pretty large block. Obviously, some people keep asking, can this be bigger, but like you realize that you have a lot to work with here, and obviously the simulation gets really heavy, so we want to keep performance well, and as we keep optimizing the game, maybe we'll allow like to increase the size of the blocks, but for now these numbers are working well for us, and we believe that this is a kind of a good format to start. So You can see here, this is the sandbox. It's still the same format that we had before, but I'm going to show you some of the. We basically completed the inventory of tiles. I mean, this is a core set. We're calling it the core set because it really represents the 96 tiles that allows us to think of how the universe of Blockhood will actually grow over time. The green representing the organics. We have also different trees. We have these new tiles that allow you to create a maze or a labyrinth. Pretty interesting stuff. You have the housing blocks, or like the living blocks, right? And you have different offices, factories, greenhouses, different apartments, all sorts of different things to give different flavor to your creations. Energy and production here. We have new ways of creating water. These are all based on like technologies that actually exist. So let's say mist collectors, different kind of boilers. You can actually now start creating hot water out of water, and then maybe that commodity would actually be useful for particular blocks. And there's different things that you'll see that there's much more depth into each one of the tiles, and we're really trying to balance them to work with each other, right? So we spend a lot of time balancing, and I'm sure there's going to be a bit more tweaks in the future, but to create a circuit of relations between each tile, right? There's only a handful of tiles as well that do not have any inputs, that are kind of like the starter kit for people that really want to get started and can create a bit of water. But soon you realize that these are not efficient, right? So you might want to have to use some of the more advanced water collection, and yeah, you'll see how that plays out. And we have different things, like for instance the cemetery, escalators, different tiles that connect in different levels, and these are all in a way the core set points out to how we're going to continue developing new blocks in the future. You're going to have more windows like this one that will allow you to kind of go much deeper into farms, much deeper into industry and production, or different energies, and we have lots of really good ideas of how the tile set of Blockhood would actually grow. So during the early access, you will be receiving new content as we continue developing these packs, and those packs have to be really thought through to work in relation to the blocks that we already have. We want to keep it tight and obviously working in a balanced way, so no block really overpowers every other block. So that's always an exciting challenge. Most of the rest actually it's pretty similar to what we had. We have been working and cleaning a lot of bugs that have been reported, but I feel like at this point the engine is working pretty well. Some of the new blocks, for instance, here we have like the makerspace, pretty exciting. Corporate office. You see that it works pretty well with a kind of an incinerator tower. Let's just put a handful of these guys. You see, we've worked new sounds and also new particle effects for some of the tiles and the creation of the tiles. That's also little tweaks that we've always wanted to do, but like we've didn't have the time yet to develop. But at this point, we have like a lot of these things working well for us. Obviously, this creation that I'm doing right now, it's gonna decay and it's gonna collapse. But it's just to give you a flavor of some of the new things that we have, right? So we have different kind of trees. We're really trying to start getting closer to some of the things that happen in the real world, like how different species of trees can be useful for different things, and how things like we have the gallery here, how different resources become like currencies for your city, right? Like maybe you want to work with culture, right, and tourists, and that's something that we want to allow you to do, to play different economies. So maybe you want to work with farms and like create different. We've reworked the wheat farm. You want to have like different productive environments, but maybe you want to just have a very commercial area that it's really thinking on tourism as a way of productivity, right, and the creation of capital. So that's something that you could definitely do. And if any of the kind of player styles that are allowed within the tile sets, it's gonna be expanded in the future. So if you are a player that really wants to play for money and play for corporate overtake, that's something you can do. We allow you to do this kind of like oil extraction tiles, these guys. So as much as the game has an ecological perspective, we want you to think about what does it mean to really kind of have oil production. Oil production is pretty efficient, but at the same time it has consequences. So you'll be invited to kind of understand those the problems of oil if you want to have oil tanks. We obviously have not yet developed the biomes and the world system. This is something that we're working on, and we'll be we'll be sharing that in the future. Um, these guys are gonna collapse. I mean, this is pointing out that this is decaying. That's because I haven't been really playing the game with looking at the resources, right? Um, and you'll see that one of the things that is happening here is that now a tile that collapses will trigger the collapse of a tile above, right? So this is like a really interesting rule because we've been playing with different and tinkering with different of these rules, and this one ended up being quite interesting. The taller you get, the higher the risk of actually something collapsing, let's say decaying, out of lack of resources and eventually triggering a chain reaction. So I think that you're gonna hopefully have fun with the game, get excited about building huge things and like really big neighborhoods, but at the same time you're gonna have the challenge of keeping things working well. Otherwise you're gonna end up with like dry and very dystopian communities. Yeah, like the ones that I'm getting on right now. But that doesn't need to be the case if you follow the tutorials and you follow the resources. You'll be fine and you'll be able to create beautiful things. So again, we'll release the game in early access the 10th. This is this Thursday basically. Like I'm gonna this video should be coming out on Monday. So Thursday the 10th of March. We're finally gonna have it in your hands, and hopefully you could join the community, give us feedback of how the game, where you want the game to go. We're gonna continue doing this blog and documenting how the game is evolving, and hopefully finish the game pretty soon so that you could just experience the whole world of Black Hood. Thanks for watching, and yeah, subscribe to the channel, subscribe to Twitter account if you're interested in following the game, and obviously buy the game if you like what you're seeing. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys soon.